Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and my fellow veterans. Welcome to the 2020 Memorial Day Observance Ceremony, presented to you this year from the chambers of the Manatee County Board of County Commissioners here in Bradenton. My name is Edwin Robinson, and I am proud to serve as chairman of the Manatee County Veterans Council and as master of ceremonies for this special event. Today in Manatee and Sarasota counties, as well as in our state, across the nation, and indeed around the world, Memorial Day 2020 looks very different during this unprecedented time in our history. As we here on the Suncoast continue to address our local response to a global pandemic, we have chosen to present this ceremony with the dignity and honor this day of remembrance demands, but also with care and responsibility as we consider the health and safety of those who have attended this ceremony at Veterans Monument Park in years past. Wherever you are watching this today, we thank you for taking a moment to pause, reflect, remember, and honor those military service members who have made the ultimate sacrifice for you and for me. Sacrifice is defined as an act of giving up something valued for the sake of something else regarded as more important and worthy. Today and every Memorial Day in our country and in our community, we pay our respects to those who selflessly gave up their valued lives for the cause of something they regarded as more important and worthy, that this nation, the United States of America, remain one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It is for their sacrifice that we present this. We cannot, should not, and will not allow the threat of a viral pandemic to cancel this. And as Abraham Lincoln once stated in his Gettysburg Address, it is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. I wish to thank everyone who banded together to make this event a reality today. I specifically wish to thank the Manatee County Board of County Commissioners for the honor to host this event in their meeting space. We will begin our ceremony today with an invocation from Patricia Stiles, chaplain of the Manatee County Veterans Council, to be followed by the singing of the national anthem by Manatee County educator Kristen Lee.
Dear Lord, we have gathered here today to remember and to honor those military members who gave the ultimate sacrifice in honor of their nation, to protect their nation. Dear Lord, at all times, let us not forget those members who not only signed on the dotted line, but then paid that ultimate price. Let us remember those who were killed in action. Remember our POWs and our MIAs at all times. As we go about our celebrations today, lest we forget why we can celebrate. Amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Chaplain Stiles, and thank you, Ms. Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, the wreath-laying ceremony serves as one of many similar wreath-laying ceremonies throughout our community and our nation in honor of our fallen soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen who served with honor, courage, and commitment. The Memorial Day wreath will be placed by Carl Hunzinger, Chief Master Sergeant, United States Air Force, retired, a 2018 inductee into the Florida Veterans Hall of Fame and President of Minnesota Veterans Incorporated, and by Michael Hartford, Captain, United States Navy, retired, and Vice President of Minnesota Veterans Incorporated. After the laying of the wreath, taps will be performed by Dave Klein of Marine Corps League, DeSoto Detachment, number 588. Thank you, gentlemen. The Memorial Day proclamation for Manatee County will be presented today by Lee Washington, United States Marine Corps, and Manatee County Veteran Services Officer.
A proclamation. Proclamation, Board of County Commissioners, Manatee County, Florida. Whereas we honor the fallen heroes who died in service to our country with heavy hearts and a sense of reflective gratitude. We remember the sacrifices of our servicemen and women, parents, children, loved ones, comrade in arms, friends, and all those known and unknown. And whereas our debt of gratitude to those who served in battle exceeds any degree of reverence we can conceive. And whereas, as a nation, the American way of life may face uncertain times ahead, our service members face daily uncertainties of life and limb. And whereas the veterans of Manatee County reaffirm their pledge to democratic ideals by accepting it as their sincere responsibility of our survival so that loss, once endured, will never be forgotten. And whereas on May 25th in Manatee County, as well as throughout our nation, ceremonies will be held to honor all military service members who gave a full measure of devotion so that we might remain free. And whereas the citizens of Manatee County wish to express their everlasting appreciation and respect, now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Manatee County, Florida, that May 25th, 2020 shall be known, designated, and set aside as Memorial Day in Manatee County, Florida. And the board calls upon all citizens, schools, businesses, clubs, and news media to pay tribute to our veterans by displaying the flag of the United States of America and by conducting and attending Memorial Day ceremonies throughout Manatee County in recognition of all those who have made the absolute sacrifice in past and current conflicts and fought with courage, pride, and honor in liberating free and independent people. Adopted with a quorum present and voting this 19th day of May 2020, the Board of County Commissioners of Manatee County, Florida, Betsy Benak, Chairman.
Thank you, Lee, and thank you to Chairman Benak and the Board of County Commissioners. At this time, I will call on Gary Tibbetts, Special Assistant to Congressman Vern Buchanan, to provide some brief remarks on behalf of the Congressman.
Thank you, Edwin. On behalf of Congressman Buchanan, I thank you and the Manatee Veterans Council for organizing this event yearly. It's one of the most wonderful times that we can have to honor those that we have lost for freedom. On May 30th, 1868, mourners placed flowers on the graves of Union and Confederate soldiers at Arlington National Cemetery, marking the first observance of Memorial Day. We continue this tradition today in communities across the nation. Ever since George Washington defeated the British at Yorktown, American soldiers have served honorably in conflicts at home and around the world. Veterans came home, and we thank them for their service and those who serve today. But on Memorial Day, we honor and remember our servicemen and women who have paid the ultimate price. Since the Revolutionary War, over 1.3 million Americans have died in the cause of freedom. It is their sacrifice that allows us to join with everyone and enjoy our American way of life and time-honored traditions such as Memorial Day. I thank you for all coming out today. I thank you for watching today. And on behalf of Congressman Vern Buchanan, I thank everyone for being here. And God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you, Gary, and please send our regards to Congressman Buchanan as well. In the gallery today, we have a small cadre of wonderful Americans, many of whom are veterans today, who helped put this program together. I would like to recognize one such person, and that is Donald Courtney, Chief Warrant Officer, United States Army, retired, who is a 2019 inductee into the Florida Veterans Hall of Fame. Moreover, he serves as Vice Chairman of the Manatee County Veterans Council and has been my right hand in putting this program together. We are honored to have him here in the gallery today. Our speaker today is Captain Michael W. Hartford, United States Navy, retired. Captain Hartford's active and reserve military career has spanned almost 4 decades. He enlisted as an Air Force airman in 1974, and after using the GI Bill, To complete his undergraduate degree, he was commissioned a Navy ensign in 1986 and retiring as a United States Navy captain in 2013. His last two active duty assignments included being the first ever Navy senior liaison officer assigned to the Department of Veteran Affairs in support of our nation's catastrophically wounded, injured, and ill. His last assignment prior to retiring was working for the Navy Surgeon General as Deputy Director, Navy Reserve Medicine, Defense Health Headquarters in Falls Church, Virginia. Michael has served in senior healthcare executive positions in the Department of Veteran Affairs, the Florida Department of Health, and on staff at the University of Colorado, where he served as Chief Operations Director and Chief of Staff for the Marcus Institute for Brain Health. He is now serving as a healthcare consultant for legislative and federal relations for the Avalon Fund, a partnership between the Marcus Institute for Brain Health and Boulder Crest, whose mission is scaling innovative and effective traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder treatments to ensure that veterans receive the care and training they need to accomplish great things at home. He is an active member of the Military Officers Association of America, the American Legion, AMVETS, the Disabled American Veterans, Loyal Order of the Moose, the Army and Navy Club, the Association of the United States Navy, and a life member of the Leadership VA Alumni Association. He volunteers in our Suncoast community as Vice President of Minnesota Veterans Incorporated and is on the board of United Way's Mission United. Captain Hartford received his undergraduate degree from Northeastern University, his graduate degree from the University of Laverne, and completed postgraduate work at George Washington University. His military decorations include the President's Legion of Merit and the Meritorious Service Medal with the Gold Star. My fellow veterans, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Captain Michael W. Hartford, United States Navy, retired.
Thank you, Edwin, and good morning, all. Fellow veterans, active duty, reserve, and Guard service members, families, especially those Gold Star families, and friends of those who have or still wear the cloth of our great nation, thank you for your sacrifices. Today, Memorial Day 2020, we pay our deepest respect to all those brave Americans who, while in uniform, have made the ultimate sacrifice for our freedom. 2020 also marks the 75th anniversary of World War II. The past few months have been much different as we battle a different enemy that has threatened our way of life, the coronavirus. As has been the case throughout our history, we as a nation will persevere and prosper through these difficult times. We thank all those in uniform who have once again answered our nation's call, and for the healthcare workers, first responders, grocery store employees, truck drivers, and all those who have braved the elements and have committed to a cause greater than themselves. I hope to take you on a short journey about the history of our great country and the importance and significance in remembering, honoring, and respecting those who have paid the ultimate sacrifice so that all Americans can enjoy the freedom we so often take for granted. What I hope will resonate throughout our journey will be that you share it with your children, grandchildren, and other millennials and centennials. For it's incumbent upon us all to make sure each generation of Americans, upon all of us to make sure that they remember and never forget those brave warriors who died for their freedom. It was November 1863, after 7,000 brave warriors were killed in the Battle of Gettysburg, when President Lincoln delivered the famous Gettysburg Address. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. I would be remiss if I didn't add all men and women are created equal. Our forefathers came to this country for a new beginning. It's only been 244 years since we became a separate, sovereign, and free nation. The founding principles of liberty, freedom, federalism, limited government, representative government, and separation of powers remain to this day. Our culture and way of life have remained strong not because of, but in spite of the challenges and obstacles that we have faced throughout our nation's history. In the words of President Reagan on the anniversary of D-Day in 1994, "You all knew that some things are worth dying for. One's country is worth dying for, and democracy is worth dying for, because it's the most deeply honorable form of government ever devised by man." There have been 12 war periods dating back to the Revolutionary War up until the present, resulting in over 1.3 million lives lost while serving in uniform. Memorial Day is in remembrance of those 1.3 million. The two most devastating wars resulted in over 1 million deaths were the Civil War and World War II. Fatalities during World War I were over 116,000, Vietnam over 58,000, and Korea over 36,000. Sadly, there's been approximately 7,000 brave Americans whose lives have been lost since 9/11. Over 650,000 Union and Confederate soldiers died during the U.S. Civil War. That's about 1/2 of all Americans who's ever died while serving during wartime, and more than 100 times more than died during the American Revolution. The deadliest battle, of course, was Gettysburg, that resulted in, as I referenced earlier, 7,000 fatalities. The deadliest battle in the history of the United States occurred during World War I, the Battle of Argonne Forest, which claimed the lives of over 26,000 brave warriors. After the Civil War, Americans were far from disengaged from the military. The war between the states and its terrible cost gave rise to new traditions and social norms in how citizens honored their fallen soldiers. The casualty figures were so great, nearly every citizen was directly touched by the conflict. Families and friends of soldiers who lost their lives chose to honor the sacrifice of the fallen by spending a day of the year decorating their graves. Decorating the graves of fallen soldiers was a long-standing tradition, but the establishment of military ceremonies around the nation transformed that practice into a community event. On May 30th, 1868, the first official Decoration Day was declared by General John A. Logan and observed at Arlington National Cemetery. Volunteers decorated the graves of more than 20,000 Union and Confederate soldiers. During World War II, Decoration Day was expanded and renamed Memorial Day to honor the Americans who died in military service. The day became a national holiday in 1971. During World War II, approximately 12% of Americans served in uniform. Today, it's less than 1% out of a nation of over 320 million people. Approximately 1.3 million Americans are now on active duty, and approximately 1 million are serving in the reserves, according to the Department of Defense. So it's easy to see how that has a potential to decrease the level of awareness about the importance of those who are willing to write a blank check, and that includes the willingness to sacrifice their lives for our freedom. General George Patton once said, "It is foolish and wrong to mourn the men who died. Rather, we should thank God such men lived." At this time, I'm going to take a moment and do a short roll call on several local fallen heroes from the past several decades. Army First Lieutenant Robert Lowe, April 1966. Army Spec 4 Harold Wilson, February 1967. Marine Lance Corporal Norman Van, June 1967. Navy Corpsman Blakely Davis, July 1967. Army Spec 4 James Beaver, March 1968. First Lieutenant Larry Boyland, April 1968. Army Staff Sergeant Dale Parker, April 1968. Army Corporal Sherry Hadley, May 1968. Army Corporal Gerald L. Bruton, June 1969. Army PFC Bobby Riley, August 1968. Navy Petty Officer John Muir, August 1969. Army PFC Russell Stott, August 1969. Army CWO Ben Sutton, September 1969. Army Spec 4 Herbert Haddon, August 1970. Army PFC Dale Meade, February 1971. Army Corporal Bobby White, October 1971. Army Spec 4 James Hackett, June 1972. Marine PFC Christopher Cobb, April 2004. Army Staff Sergeant Paul Martis, July 2004. Army Specialist Justin Schmidt, July 2004. Army PFC Chris North, April 2007. Army Sergeant William Hassenflew, September 2008. Army PFC Zachary Fuller, June 2016. Army Specialist Nicholas Panapinto, November 2019. And Army PFC Austin Stump, September 2019. In the words of Abraham Lincoln, "From these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from this earth." May God continue to look over and bless the 1.3 million who have died while wearing the cloth of our great nation. Rest in peace, soldiers, Marines, airmen, sailors, and guardmen, our brothers and sisters always and forever. God bless America, land of the free, home of the brave. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Hartford, for those both thoughtful and very inspiring remarks. To close out our ceremonies today, please welcome Mrs. Jan Clockey of Minnesota Elks Lodge number 2734 with "God Bless America." It will then be followed by the benediction by Manatee County Veterans Council Chaplain Patricia Stiles.
Please join me in song. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Dear Lord, as you send us safely on our way to return to our memories that we're making today, let us also remember those that paid the ultimate price, those that are still missing and not accounted for, and those possibly who are still being held captive by old enemies. Dear Lord, please, let everyone remember freedom is never free. And those men and women who paid the ultimate price allow us today to remember and have our special celebrations in their honor, lest we never forget. Amen.
On behalf of the Manatee County Veterans Council, I want to thank all those who helped make this event possible. Many of them are in the gallery this morning. I want to personally thank each of you who sacrificed a part of your day off work or other personal gatherings or family meetings to come together to honor our fallen service members. A wise colleague and friend once said that failure to properly honor our fallen heroes, even in the midst of a pandemic, is simply not an option. I am glad all of you and those of you that are watching today feel the same way. Thank you for the privilege of your time. I ask that all of Manatee County and throughout the Suncoast have a safe and reflective Memorial Day. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.